mastered the theater and television and film, and today he's in our studio. It's Alan Cumming, everybody. What's up? So good to have you. So this is really cool. We know I called you more than a triple threat because you're also an author.
Yes.
So we're here to talk a little bit.
As well. I'm very threatening.
Yeah, you're very threatening. Look at you out there slaying everything. So You Got to Get Bigger Dreams is your latest book. It's out right now. That is him and his dog, Honey.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, in a lot of ways, it is a love letter to Honey. And we're going to talk a little bit about Honey, your dog, or Honey was your dog.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the title. Because the title is very interesting. I mean, and it all has to do with Oprah.
Yes,
right?
The goddess that is Oprah. Yeah, my friend Eddie was obsessed with Oprah, is obsessed with Oprah, and I was invited to this thing where Oprah was being honoured, and so I took him as my date, and but I realised it was like taking like a teenage fangirl to a really important event.
Yeah.
He was just like he was practically just, you know, vibrating with this Oprah lust. And so he wanted to get a picture with her, and I was like, I don't think that's going to happen, Eddie. You know, I'm like, don't get your hopes up. But anyway, at one point in the evening, it was this mega posh evening, and at one point, she stood up from her seat. I was kind of zooming in on her, trying to get Eddie in the foreground and Oprah like a little dot in the background. And I was like, she's coming towards us, because it turns out she was going to the loo, because it turns out Oprah actually pees.
Oh my God.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Wow.
And then she was going right, because we were sitting by the loos, we had great seats. And so Oprah was going to come right past our table, so I said, she's coming. And so I was trying to unzoom my camera, and I heard Eddie go, Oprah, may I have a photo with you? It would be my dream. And Oprah just went, you got to get bigger dreams. It's a terrible picture. It's not not great framing, but actually I think what I like about that picture is Oprah is only able to be half present because she is a goddess, and Eddie is just was a blur. So it's actually a very accurate snapshot of what that moment was like, and so that's why I put it in the book.
I think what's cool is that at first you were like, did Oprah just diss you?
Yeah.
But then you're like, that's not a diss. It's actually Oprah being very self-deprecating.
Yeah, and even in that moment where she must have to deal with so many times of just people just geeking out on her, she was able to be self-deprecating and also to truly be wise, because Eddie should have bigger dreams than just getting his photo taken with Oprah. And by allowing that photo to happen, she released him from that dream, and he has got bigger dreams now. So
love it.
I love her. I think she's great.
Oh my gosh, I think she's just amazing. I think the photography in your book is really cool because these pictures go way back.
Yes.
And I mean, we all know we're living in the era of the smartphone, and everyone's taking selfies all the time, including our audience. Yeah, I was watching you. And there's nothing wrong with it, but you were taking selfies before there were smartphones, before it was called a selfie.
I used to take pictures on my camera like that, and so you have to be much better at it because you couldn't see this. There was nothing to watch yourself on.
That's right. You
just had to judge it. So I was something of a pioneer, I think.
You know.
But I actually just like the idea. I've always liked the idea of seeing what's going on around you and with yourself in it. It's actually, because I think memory is this sort of collective thing. When I was looking at all the pictures that I might use for this book, I was, I scanned every single hard copy of a photo that I used to have. I've got everything on a digital thing now. So it was amazing going back into my life, and I'm so glad I did a lot of those, because I see what I looked like at a certain point in my life, and then I see what just was what was going on in the room or whatever I was behind me. So I think that's what selfies are really good at. They shouldn't just be, don't come too close.
Yeah,
try and get further. Try and get further. See what's going on around you. Yeah.
And when you read about and really high,
because you can see what's in the back, and also the chins don't get.
That's what it's all about. When you go through the book and you see all of these facets of your life and all of these sort of worlds that you've been a part of, it's pretty cool. And I like the fact that you often take the contrarian view. A lot of people look at certain things and everyone can say all together, oh, I just hate that. You're not necessarily one of those people. So once you had to call Helen Mirren on her hatred for Crocs.
I certainly did. We were making a movie, and I always wear Crocs. I'm actually wearing Crocs today. These are Crocs, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Rethink your prejudices. Thank you. These are Crocs. Thank you. I was wearing Crocs because we're on the beach. We're in Hawaii, and it was all those rocky beaches. And so we're having a drink one night, and Helen turns to me and goes, I think those are ugly. Like that, and I was like, whoa, all right. I said, well, sometimes I think what other people are wearing is ugly, but I use my inside voice and don't say anything.
Yeah.
And she's like, I see what you mean, I still think they're ugly. I was like, all right, lady, let's leave it. And Dame Helen. And then a few weeks later, I was on a gap from filming, and I came back. And she came running round the corner from the makeup thing, and she said, Alan, Alan. I thought she was just pleased to see me. But she's like, look. And she had like pink Crocs on. And she said that her flip-flops had been hurting her, and she'd tried Crocs, and they were so comfortable, and now she had 3 pairs.
So there. Crocs are good.
And also, I think that what I write about in the book is I think it's a bad thing that we all like as a culture to have something that we can all collectively hate.
Yeah.
And I think that's, when you think about it, that's not a very good trait to have. It's kind of how fascism is born.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? That we all enjoy hating the same thing. And actually, there's no reason to hate it. It's just because we're told it's all right to hate it. I don't think that's a good enough reason to hate something.
We hate with zeal, and we're happy about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings me to the U.S. election. I want to talk about it because in a lot of ways it has been the politics of the worst on both sides.
Yes.
But we know that you're very politically vocal.
Yeah.
So a lot of us know you from your character Eli on The Good Wife. And Eli is very different than Alan is.
I'll see.
Right? So I want to know from Eli's perspective how he would feel about Trump's campaign, and then I want to know from Alan's perspective. How would Eli judge Trump's campaign?
Well, the thing about Eli, he was a big Democrat. You know, he always worked for Democratic politicians. He was a lefty, so he would be. I think he'd just be balking and horrified, yet very sort of. I mean, it is kind of skilled in terms of it. It's sort of. It's blunt and it's lowest common denominator, but it's successful. So I think Eli would probably appreciate it in a sort of a professional way in terms of the fact that it's having great success.
It's working.
It's working. Alan does not admire its success because I think the reason it's successful is that he uses fear and he preys upon people's worst qualities, and he allows, even if, I mean, hopefully he's not going to win. But even if the fact that he has allowed so many millions of people to be able to espouse these virulently hateful opinions, they will always have that as an option in their life going forward. And I think that's a terrible, terrible schism he's created in the American political landscape. And I just hope that that's all that he's creating.
Right.
I hope it doesn't go any further than that.
No, we're all watching very closely.
We're all terrified.
We were all watching very closely the very end of The Good Wife, and just really quickly, so much controversy over that last episode. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I liked how it was not sensational, not huge things happened, yet huge things did happen. Because I think that was what the show was like. It was very small personal things happened that kind of caused huge ripples.
Yeah.
And I think the show ended in the spirit that it didn't do something. We didn't all die, and or she didn't go off with the guy and everything. I think it ended in a kind of a subtle way, yet big thing. Like the slap at the end, I actually thought was a really amazing thing to watch. She kind of became not a very nice person, actually, Alicia. And I think that was great that on a mainstream TV show they allowed the heroine to kind of get less likable as the show went on.
Real full circle moment. Thank you so much for joining us today. The book is awesome. The pictures, the stories.
Thank you.
You got to get bigger dreams, people. Please welcome Alan Cumming. Say thank you for coming.